everybody, and thanks for taking the time to watch this week's Oldtown short, Laying Down Our Lives. I had an eye-opening experience this week. On Wednesday, I took a ride with my mom up to Northborough to see my daughter. You see, over the summer, she and her husband bought a new house. But because of the pandemic and other life situations, my mom had not yet been up to see it. The interesting part about my daughter's move is that without even realizing it, she moved to a new house that is 6.5 miles from the house my mom grew up in. After stopping and visiting at the new house for a little bit, the three of us got in the car and took a ride. Now, I remember visiting my grandparents a lot when I was a kid. This time, however, driving down the roads of their town, so much had changed. And for my mom, who remembered the years she grew up there, it was unbelievable. As I drove, my mom and I remembered the buildings and the businesses that used to be there. And we couldn't believe how much the town had changed. My mom told my daughter and I stories about the amusement park that's now a shopping plaza, and the drive-in movie theater that's in the process of becoming an apartment complex. We drove by the church where my parents were married. That was once a Methodist church and is now a Baptist church, but hey, it's still a church. And the elementary school that my mom went to that once housed grades 1 through 8 and is now twice the size with additions built out on all sides to accommodate grades 1 through 4. My mom fondly remembered the playground that was separated by a fence so that the boys could play on one side and the girls on the other. We drove down the street where she grew up, remembering the old farm where my grandparents lived, which is now a neighborhood, and the house where my mom grew up. She remembered who lived in all the houses that were still standing and was amazed by the new neighborhoods that filled the open fields where she and her friends used to play. On the way back to my daughter's house, my mom told us the story of the 1953 tornado that came through the area, killing 94 people and injuring over 1,000. She remembered how school was closed for the rest of that year and how friends came back to school in the fall still using crutches. On our ride, the stories were sacred and the memories were treasured. There was still an amazing sense of love and honor for the community, the moments and milestones that were celebrated, and the years that were spent there. But what a reminder to each of us of how over the years, not only do children and families grow, but times and communities change. Nothing stays the same, except for maybe our stories and our memories. Folks, change is all around us, and that's not a bad thing, because it's through that change that we meet the needs of our families, our communities, and our future generations. Many times in the Bible, we hear stories about people laying down their lives for one another. And I always thought that that meant that they gave their life and died for them. But sometimes laying down your life for another means putting your comfort, your preferences, and the way that you have always done things aside to better serve others. I've been thinking a lot about what it will be like when we return to our church building. Sure, we all long for a sense of normalcy. But folks, we have the opportunity at this point to really change and grow into a faith community that will share the love of God not only within our walls, but with our community and the world. The pandemic has changed us, my friends. We have experienced things that we never dreamed we would experience, and our eyes have been opened to new and different ways of being followers of Jesus. If we truly want to follow our call to love one another as God has loved us, and to work toward the peaceable kingdom here on earth, we need to be fearless and bold. And rather than looking back at where we were, we need to look forward to where our children, our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren will be. Understanding that things may not look or feel just like we remember them. And there may be new ways of being the church, but that's not a bad thing. The truth is, every generation wrestles with balancing the treasured past with the call to step out into the future. Sure, we want things to stay the same because that's what's comfortable for us. But this is the time when we need to truly listen to the stories of our faith, not being blinded by experiences of our past or judgments that we've learned over the years, but hearing them anew through the lens of love. Not worrying about getting back to where we've been and holding firm to lists of beliefs and old traditions, but with love and joy, opening ourselves to where we're going, using our imaginations, asking questions, experiencing sacred moments, and sharing the stories of our faith as we allow them to change us and make us into something new, laying down our lives and what has been for what will someday be.